Yes, folks, this is The Bliss with the Duke, your mother's favorite boyfriend, and this is Ebenezer, not just radio. As promised, it's a jam-packed show tonight, and I do not only speak to attorneys like we've just done at 9:30. Now it's 10:30, and we speak to an engineer. But this engineer is not your normal engineer. It's a mood engineer. You know, when my producer gave me this, I was like, mood engineer. I needed to go to Google and Google, what is this? What is a mood engineer? Does this person engineer our moods? Well, he's here to tell us. His name is Lebogang Majabula Mokoena Senior. My good brother, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Doug. A big good evening to all of your listeners at this late hour. Then they know they're turning into the Duke, and I've listened to your show before with that said producer, and I'm just happy to be part of it. So, looking forward to the interview.
Thank you so much, my brother. Maybe let's start there before we ask who you are. What is a mood engineer?
So, this whole idea came through when I would go to other events
Mm-hmm.
and you would see people that are called masters of ceremony, you know,
Okay.
and I would see them mastering a ceremony, but
Oh.
they only cared about the people they were hosting for, which is
Mm.
either the groom and bride or the business owner, CEO, or the person celebrating the birthday, depending on the event that was at hand,
Mm-hmm.
And but then I thought, what about the audience? Because they are the reason we are on stage.
Mm.
They are the reason even you are now engineering this content for your listeners right now at this time
Okay.
because you care about your audience. So that's how
Yes.
I then saw my delivery, to say my delivery is based on the audience. It's based on who I'm delivering for. And even when I do contract with my clients, we
Mm-hmm.
talk about what is the one word you want the people to describe attending your event to be. Then they'll be like, extravagant, elegant,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Then I try create that mood.
Oh.
You see,
All
so if people
right.
need to walk in and walk out feeling elegant, walk in,
Okay.
walk out feeling energized or entertained or thought provoking, whatever the adjective they give me, I run with it and ensure that's what the audience are going to get.
Oh.
So it becomes not my mood because usually a master of ceremony uses their own mood to create maybe one atmosphere. Me, I use the mood of my brief to change the mood of my audience to suit the event.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe tell us about yourself. Where is Lebogang from? Where is he born? And
Yeah,
to be where you are now. Just tell
yeah.
me about your
So,
journey.
you're making me think of my kids now who were laughing at me when I turned 40 2 years ago.
Oh,
And they were
wow.
like saying, I'm chasing 50. And I was like, yo, man, a person is old. But
Yeah.
recently I also read that what you call life begins at 40. So I'm clearly young. I feel energetic.
But I must say
But my
you're older than the democracy.
it is definitely. So I got to see a bit of both. Sometimes you need that perspective,
Mm.
to know what is an advantage and to know what is still a disadvantage. These ones that are born after democracy, they've never seen what we've
Mm.
gone through.
They are the one
But
that vote for the DA.
we won't say. But my story began in Nelspruit. I was born in Nelspruit in Pumalanga,
Okay.
1983. And then I grew up in Ermelo in Pumalanga
Wow,
until I was
Mlomo.
around about,
Mm.
yeah, Mlomo, until I
Yes.
was around about 8, 9, then moved to Fort Lawrence, the East Rand.
Okay.
So that's where I honed my skills from the East Rand. And I think for it to make sense, I think my growing up, what you call this thing, structure, made the personality that I am and that I can actually even put out on stage
Hmm.
because I've had many influences. You see,
Mm.
and they
Mm.
say a personality is the amount of personalities that were poured in his glass. You
Hmm.
know. So if you are a person that just had you and your mom only, that's one personality pouring in you, and maybe your teacher at school, But
Mm.
in the Mokwenas, we are a clan. There's a lot of us. There are cousins you call sisters. That's how close we are.
Yes, yes.
Um, so, and there's like 10, 20 of us. Some you still meet today, like, Konji, you are from the uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, friends side.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and that's how I think my personality was built. I used to call myself the magazine to say when you change the page, you never know what might come out. Is it an advert
Ooh.
for an Audi, or is it maybe buy the new TV from Iowa? So that's how I used to describe myself, but that's how my upbringing was. Quite a mixture of a lot of individuals from Pumalanga, moving to Fort Loras,
Mm.
and then growing up in the East Rand, basically, was basically most of my youth life until I decided to move out, once you are in tertiary, but then you can't finish the real black story that we all have,
Yes,
where you
yes.
cannot finish tertiary because of finances, and then all of a sudden you are thrusted into the work world.
Wow, yeah.
And I think for me, the motivating part about my story, and to anyone listening, is that actually should make you angry positively.
Hmm.
It should be positive discontent. You should be like, I can't go to tertiary, but you should be like, but I'm going to prove the system that I
Yes,
can do it without them. You understand?
yes,
So,
yes,
and then that's
yes.
what pushed me, because I was like, man, I'm going to do this regardless then.
Hmm.
And I started being, like all of us wanted to start music, wanted
Yes.
to rap or write songs,
I've
and we
been
used to
there.
DJ. When we lived in Midrand, we used to DJ. We used to
Hmm.
go ahead and I was the mic man to some of my DJs, and we used to, spend a lot of time in studio and making songs.
Hmm.
And then from around there, this thing of public speaking had already bit me. I had already wanted to see how I can also entertain people, because when I was young, I used to stand up in front of my friends and make jokes.
Okay.
So I started actually seeing that, oh, okay, there's things like promotions. People sometimes underestimate the journey there. And remember, every
Yes.
rung on the step is very important, even the one that doesn't pay you. Maybe it pays you in experience, and then from experience, it then will become monetary. But people rush for the monetary, then they break relationships, or then they break, this what you call maybe symbiosis relationship. Sometimes you
Hmm.
find there's a brand or a person who says, yo, I like Duke, can we do these things? You record them every morning, you send them to me, but Duke is like, how much are you gonna pay me? No,
Hmm.
maybe not yet.
Hmm.
But he's got a vision, this person, and
Yes.
this thing is gonna start making money, and then guess who's gonna be next to him? Duke.
You.
You see.
Yes, man.
And that's how I trusted my growth, to say, people calling me, hey man, can you do this promotion? Like the
Hmm.
promotions where you stand at the robot handing pamphlets. I used to go do those.
Wow,
I
man.
used to do modeling. If there's an audition, I was there. It doesn't mean I'd get it, but I'm there, man.
Wow.
And and I think that's for me, just always just wanting to prove the system that, what, even if I don't finish tertiary, what I'm going to finish is this life. I'm going to make sure that I go as far as possible.
It's interesting.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting because I've seen guys, especially from Mpumalanga, and not taking away the
Mm.
guys from any other province, because I'm from Eliandra, Leslie.
Oh,
Yes,
Elizabeth.
that's why I know Mlomo very much.
Mm-hmm.
So from Leslie, born there, and obviously grew up at Katlehong, and just living in between these two provinces, when
Yeah.
schools are closed, the Katlehong, I go to Leslie, and you see different lifestyle. You get to experience different cultures where you are that side and awukwazi ukudlula umuntu omdala endleleni ungambingelelanga, and you
Yeah.
come this side
Yes.
and ma ungabingelela umuntu ku-snacks ngathi uzobabamba inkunzi. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
It
why
is.
ungibingelela?
It's like, why are
It's
friend?
fine.
Why are friend?
Why afraid? Exactly.
Not
But
to
what I want to
linking.
say is the hunger for people that come from other provinces coming into Gauteng is really amazing, and you
Mm.
also a story to tell, getting to prove that also. I don't know what influences that. Where did you draw that inspiration to say, I'm going to prove the system wrong? What kept pushing you?
So I don't know. Maybe I married right because the woman I married
Oh,
is also
okay.
a pusher. they say they say either if you marry a good woman, you will become happy. But if you marry a bad woman, you will become a philosopher. You know?
Hmm.
So no, no. I think marrying someone who pushes you, to go ahead and go after your dreams. Because you know what will actually eat most people who have a
Hmm.
dream? The fact that you're doing it alone. So all your finances have to just focus on what? Putting food on the table. So when are you
Yes.
gonna buy studio equipment? When are you gonna buy a microphone?
Hmm.
When are you gonna buy even Fruit Loops just to make beats? You understand?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
all your money just needs to feed you, needs to pay for your rent. But if you have someone who supports you and says, really, take this, risk it,
Hmm.
try it, because then you are able to go ahead and then really push it. And then now you don't want to disappoint people because now they believe in
Hmm.
you. So you actually even push even more. Yeah, that then drives the hunger because now you want to really then, show that their trust can be repaid through the success of this thing that you said you can do.
It's very
You
interesting
see?
because it's as if I'm listening to
Mm.
myself telling a story. But
Yeah, you see, I'm sure it is the same way because it is about having the right teammate.
mm,
Every boxer has a corner. Even if I am shy, it
yes,
goes back to a corner.
yes, yes,
Even now,
yes.
we're up hustling, trying to make this work. You have to
Mm,
have a corner. And if you don't have a corner, then you'll be stuck in the middle of the ring. In the middle of the ring, people can throw stuff at you. They can hurl stuff at you. They can go ahead and tell you who you are. But when
mm.
you go back to your corner, they'll sit you down, bakumbuz
All
what
right.
the mission is, ukuthi siyaphi, nokuthi lo muntu lo ngathi ukushaya ka-left. You
Hmm.
know?
Very true. Very true. Tell me about your role at Vodacom, one of the biggest networks, if not the biggest, in South Africa.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say the biggest. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because from Yebo Koko days to basically
Yes.
now, you can just see Utigena. Vodacom has just changed quite a lot of lives, even mine, because ngangena nami ngiseseyintwana lapha
Mm.
as a call center agent.
Wow.
Just wanting, just still also dreaming. Angithi Utigena, man, how can I take these things over?
Mm.
And then even for me to get on stage at Vodacom, it took a risk. I
Hmm.
remember one time asking the CEO to say, hey, um, can I also host one of your shows? And then they told me, they've got high profile people currently doing it. And then that motivated me even more.
Hmm.
When I went back to my desk that day as a call center agent, I was only Googling how to improve as a public speaker, where to
Wow.
go to improve. Then I found a thing called Toastmasters. I went into Toastmasters, toastmasters.com. Man, I found that there's a club next door. Yo, I joined that club. Every week I was giving speeches, people giving you feedback, stand like this, talk
Wow.
like this, say your words like this, speak for purpose, move with purpose, all of those things. I was like, wow, I learned that thing. After
Wow.
that, when I became then that thing, I asked them, can I be on stage? They were more than happy to put me on stage. They were more than happy for the CEO to go around with me around the country to host him in every region, you know?
Wow.
And with that, I've grown now to go to other countries to deliver training or to deliver coaching with regards to sales, with regards to customer experience.
Mm.
Um, and obviously, through being at a company like where I work, I've gotten to study, and get now the paperwork I couldn't get before
Mm.
when
You were
the money
hustling.
was the issue. So sometimes your journey can be a bit of a longer one, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't take it. Sometimes you'll see a Maporisa on TV, you'll see a very famous DJ or a
Mm.
very famous actor, and you'll think they also just shot to it. You'll think they also just rushed to it and got there now. But I used to live in the same complex with Maporisa before he was Maporisa now.
Hmm.
And I can tell you, it does take a long time to get there in terms of, but you need to be consistent. So whoever's listening there, be consistent. Your door's going to open. And when it does, you will see people will just admire you for it because you've worked hard at it. So I use my 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Wow. Please repeat that.
So proper preparation prevents poor performance. If you prepare more than the next person, or more than the next company, or more than the next candidate, you are definitely going to be the person selected. Be so good they can't ignore you. But most of the time, we prepare lazily. I'm telling you, I can't wait, Duke, until you come to a show that I'm doing. You'll come back to me and say you told me, because then it's a science, it's a whole research, it's a whole getting to think of how to actually move people, by using words, gestures, body language, and certain maybe energizers and stuff like that. And that's basically for me how I look at life. Life is all about those things, fun,
Wow.
talking to people, making people participate, because life is a two-way street.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's obviously an interesting role that you have there. And one listener may be thinking, I've been focused on what we've been raised to think is careers, and that's being a police, a nurse, a doctor, a soldier.
Mm.
You know, how does one become a mood engineer? And where are the opportunities for such?
So mood engineering is actually being an entrepreneur, because all you have to do is work on your craft. Your craft is, how do you you start next to, I used to do weddings for free. I remember I drove to Limpopo, and the person, all he did was put 800 Rand petrol in my car.
Yo.
But I went. You understand? I went because I wanted the practice.
Hmm.
You see, there's always a funeral, a wedding,
Oh,
a lobolo.
yes.
Ask to be the person who's going to coordinate.
Hmm.
Because what you need is the proper preparation. Start with those double P first.
Aish.
You need that. So in a way, you're gonna get it for free at the free weddings. Bo maki, bo mang mang, bo
Yeah.
graduate, having a 16th birthday, 19th birthday. There is no event too small for you. You understand?
Hmm.
Make sure you do all of them, because you get the art, and you get yourself used to how you handle people, even to how you started. You start having words you use only on stage. You start to having a personality that only shows up when you stand on stage, because you are making it second nature. Proper preparation.
Wow.
Then, once you've done so many shows with Kokasi for free, believe me, now you know that you won't have the poor performance. You
Hmm.
understand? Now the poor performance won't be there. Now you can put a price. Now you can put a price, because now you trust that someone will not go ahead and doubt you when you deliver on stage.
Because you've had enough time to actually master the reading of the crowd, even. Uguti,
You've
when the people,
sharpened your saw. You've
yes.
sharpened your saw so much. Now any tree in front of you is in trouble. But if you don't sharpen your saw, you're gonna go with the blunt saw to the market. And that's sometimes what people do. They are premature to the market. Yes, maybe you get 3 or 4 weddings, but boom, God, you go down, because people are like, I said because there's only
Hmm.
one way. He's one-sided. You understand? He has one approach. He doesn't see the art in it.
Wow. And your other interest in business, apart
Well,
from
um,
being a
my
mood
biggest
engineer?
interest is my 3 boys, right?
Wow.
So my 3 boys are my what you call this thing? We've got a sportsman, we've got a crazy artist, and then we've got the youngest, who's the energy of the family. So
Just
those are
like a
my
father.
weekend. Basically, if I have a hobby, it's following them,
Wow.
going wherever they are going. So I'm usually watching rugby on a Saturday, watching basketball on a Saturday, even the same thing on a Sunday, maybe going to golf first, then rushing to a basketball game. Like, it's just them. And I think
Wow.
that's what also keeps you grounded. If you wrap your activities and your hobbies around your people, because then it just creates such a tight knit unit.
Wow. My brother, there's one who's listening and want to book you. Are you still available for that? Or are you solely for Vodacom?
No. You can definitely book me. They can hit me up on Instagram at the Mood Engineer.
Hmm.
At the Mood Engineer, they can find me there,
Okay.
and then I'll be able to go ahead and take any booking. And I'm looking forward to meeting most of them. And believe me, you will enjoy whichever event.
Wow. I'm making sure that from the producer. I get, I get your gig guide so that I can come
Yes,
and
please.
watch you do this.
Most definitely, most
Any last
definitely.
words
But
from
it's been a
yourself?
pleasure, man. No, it's been a pleasure. And to anyone that's listening, remember, it's in your hands, yeah? It just
Yeah.
depends on you. It just depends on you. So proper preparation will prevent poor performance. And then after that, just sell yourself, man. You put the price.
Wow. My brother, Lebogang Majabula Mokoena. It's the middle name for me, Majabula. It
Yes.
says it
Yeah,
all.
that's an adjective. Yes, it describes how I should come.
Definitely. My brother, thank you so much for joining us. Really inspirational story. And may the good Lord continue to shine his face upon you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
The Bliss with the Duke, your mother's favorite boyfriend. I did promise you, and I did deliver. We'll be back right after this.